Allan kicks things off by unleashing his holy sword's ultimate attack on a horde of monsters, but it burned through his mana mutton. Ishua solves this by constantly reopening Allan's manga using his monoporter skills. He backed Allan and the hero's party a magic swordsman, saint, and sage. Ishua's constant mana refills let them spam their ultimate attacks with zero limits. It can even repair the magic sword mid-fight. He even fueled the healing, pumping the saint with enough holy magic to keep her spells going. Ishua's certain full mana means a guaranteed win. He was the party's backbone, the reason they cleared every quest they faced. Days later, Allan suddenly boots Ishua from the party. Ishua's fired and he's reeling. He warned Allan kick Ishua, and the party's mana will tank. Allan never bothered checking, convinced they never ran low on mana. Ishua claims he hid his power, but Allan isn't buying it, refusing to believe a lowly monoporter could be this strong. Allan hated Ishua out of pure jealousy, sick of seeing every girl fawn over such a useless loser. Allan lies, claiming the whole party agreed. They're done with Ishua. He's stunned and heartbroken. Dismissed just like that, Ishua walks away, still stinging from that sudden boot. Monoporters fuel high-consumption parties, supplying energy mid-battle. Always in the background, they're constantly underestimated, just like how Allan looked down on Ishua. Ishua still worried his team a hero, saint, sage, and magic swordsman drained mana way too fast. Ishua feared they couldn't fight effectively while conserving mana, but if everyone wants him gone, there's no choice. Just then, Arya calls Ishua senpai. Caught off guard by her wild charge, she slams into him chest first at full speed, missing that sweet womanly scent. He asks why Arya's here. She demanded to know why he suddenly abandoned them. Saint Arya calls Ishua senpai since she was his junior back at the academy. Ishua asks why she thinks he abandoned them when they kicked him out. Arya's stunned. They relied on his mana for everything. Ishua claims he's just repeating Allan. Arya's so pissed that even as a saint, she starts leaking a dark aura. Arya's fuming over that bratty hero targeting her, senpai. Ishua's relieved she gets it and wants him to stay. Arya came to take senpai back, but now she's just following him instead. Ishua's stunned. Arya's ditching her dream of joining the hero's party because she refuses to work for the man who banished him. He's backed her since school, and she knows he's the reason for who she is today. She begged Ishua to take her along. Ishua could tell she meant it. He lets her tag along. Ishua wondered how she tracked him. Arya stammered, revealing she used senpai's hair for search magic. Ishua grew suspicious. Is she really a saint or a black magic? They keep walking as she asks for the plan Ishua wants to resupply in town. But suddenly, they hear screams for help. Wolf monsters mauled this carriage. Ishua joined them, just like Arya predicted. They dove into the center and he ordered Arya to slay the monsters while fueling her with mana. These B-rank wolf demons are total beginner killers. Ishua stayed cool, knowing they were no match for Saint Arya. Arya's overdoing it, unleashing top-tier magic just to wipe out these wolves. She stacked enchantments to keep her power in check. Ishua scanned her magic circles and throttled her power to avoid leveling the entire area. Counter-ready, Arya unleashes her innocent shine, nuking the entire area. Humans and monsters alike stared at the beam in confusion. It shatters, exploding across the entire area. Saint Arya's holy blast shreds undead hundreds of meters away, purifying the entire path in range. Arya giggles, asking Ishua how her new magic feels. Ishua says she overdid it, purifying the entire area into a literal sacred site. She keeps giggling, but he hopes she'll finally master her powers and stop getting overexcited. The merchants wondered who the duo was. He leads them to a village. Ishua thanks him, but the merchant's just returning the favor for saving his life. He's never seen mages this strong or magic transfer this smooth, Arya bragged. Only her senpai could pull it off. He makes the impossible possible. She can cast spells this massive alone, but Ishua has infinite mana and can instantly master or optimize high-level magic at a glance. He's a total superhuman. Waitress serves Hugh nuts, but the merchant demands better for his lifesavers. She apologized to the boss, reporting low mana and the need to fire up the refineries. Ishua asks about the mana shortage. The man admits. Their tiny village can maintain refineries, let alone farm tools. Broken gear and massive repair costs have stalled the village. If this keeps up, they're finished. Arya and Ishua locked eyes, sharing the same thought. Ishua promises to fix the mana shortage. The man felt guilty taking more help from Ishua after he'd already saved him once. Arya tells him it's fine. Her senior was a total softie who couldn't ignore anyone in need. Ishua hits the refinery and finds them in horrific shape. He admitted they'd fallen behind on maintenance for a long time. Ishua scoped the refinery up close. He figured he could handle this. He grabs the tank and floods it with magic until it's maxed out. Jaws drop as he fills every mana container at once, pulling off a feat impossible for any human. Ishua knows the drill, grinding his mana infusion on inanimate objects. He was stuck maintaining the party's magic swords and gear. Ishua even adds a self-cleaning effect to the containers. He finishes, and the ruins transform into a brand new refinery. The villagers are stunned. He didn't just fix the mana containers, he filled them, stripped the rust, and fixed the weekends. Ishua added upgrades for long-term stability, even if he still felt like a total rookie. The villagers set him straight. He'd just done the work of dozens of top engineers. The villagers are dying to know his name. Ishua claims he's just a regular monoporter. Seeing Ishua's insane power firsthand convinced him he was just an average guy. He asks who she is, and Arya introduces herself as a saint, radiating a holy aura and a perfect smile. Shocked, the villager realized Ishua was bringing a saint. That's him. The hero. He knew the truth, and finally apologized for his late thanks to the hero. Startled by the hero title, Ishua begs Arya to help fix the misunderstanding. Arya's lost in a daydream, certain she and Senpai are the perfect match. She could return to her saint form instantly, but the village throws a party for their savior, but Ishua keeps insisting it's all a mistake. The villager assumed he was just playing humble to hide his secrets. They respected his bluntness over fake heroes looking to exploit them. Ishua gave up. The villagers just wouldn't listen. Arya lunges at him, calling him her hero, while Ishua panics at the closeness. She didn't care, she was way too wasted. Ishua saw she was wasted. She'd already started drinking. He warned the village Arya's a lightweight, but she's already blown her savings. She even tried kissing Ishua senpai. The party was a hit for everyone except Ishua. Elsewhere, Allan plans to conquer the dungeon with just a 3-man squad. Mythia and Riteru knew. Entering the dungeon without Ishua and Arya was suicide. Allan says forget those guys, he already put in the work to fire them. He orders them to shut up and follow him to prove that incompetent Ishua is worthless. Maith and Riteru followed Allan into the dungeon, doubting their leader every step. This is the tale of a fallen hero and a monoporter who, the future hero's legend begins. Ishua and Arya depart the Axis village. Villagers wave them off with smiles. Arya's glad. He finally found the respect he deserves, seeing Senpai as a total hero. She asks him where to head next. He'll return his hero license first, then register as an adventurer. He heads back to the beginner town Norbish. Meanwhile, Allan shreds the monsters, unleashing a barrage of holy sword skills. He's sure this dungeon's a breeze, even without a monoporter. The guild ranks dungeons from E to SS. Even veterans get wiped out in dungeons like Allan's. Mythia and Riteru stayed alert, warning Allan to save mana for the trip back without Ishua's backup. Hearing his name again, Allan brags he doesn't need him. Only cowards flee an A-rank dungeon, and he's sure mana shortages are rare. Mythia explains they never felt the drain because Ishua believes a perfect porter supports the team invisibly. Mythia dodges an attack and warns the group not to get surrounded. Sage Riteru magically buffs Allan's attacks. His power surged, letting him one-shot every monster. Allan asks if they're still OP without Ishua, proving they don't need his help after all. Suddenly, Allan sensed something was wrong. He warns Mythia as a lizard man creeps up, noticing she's ditched her magic sword for daggers. Magic swordswoman or not, she's fighting smart without Ishua, she can't waste mana, and Ritoru is already hitting her limit. Allan's pissed. His party looks weak, so he unleashes the holy sword again to prove his power. Suddenly, mana burnout hits and he screams in pain. He screams, "What's happening?" Mythia tells him he saw just low on mana. Allan refused to believe he was out of mana. It never happened before. Allan's mana is massive, so he'll never run dry using normal attacks. Now, he's mastered mana-heavy moves thanks to the Holy Sword. The king knew the Holy Sword drains massive mana, so he gave the party a fix from the start. Allan never ran out of mana. Mythia tells Allan to stand, but he's frozen paralyzed by his own weakness. He's terrified of the lizard monster. He'd win any other day, but right now no chance. The lizard man hunts Allan like easy prey, knowing he's far stronger. Allan's survival instincts kick in. He bolts, ditching Mythia. He ordered Ritteru to shadow and protect him instead. Ritteru hesitates to leave Mythia, but Allan screams for him to escape. He can to die with a lowly swordswoman. The hero's safety is the only priority. Ritteru's pissed, and she's finally made her choice. She marches toward Mythia, while Allan demands to know what she's doing. Ritteru won to leave Mythia while she fights for her life. She made it clear Allan's no hero. Ritteru realized she's out of mana. Left with no choice, she slams her staff into the lizard man's side. Allan's stunned a sage throwing hands. Mythia exploits Ritteru's opening, shredding the lizard man's limbs with her daggers. Mythia's glad she and Ritteru learned to fight without mana for the worst-case scenario. Suddenly, Allan screams as another lizard man corners Allan. Mythia strangles the monster from behind. Saving the hero meant to save others. She made it clear they'll never abandon their friends like Allan. Allan won't stop until they all escape alive. Finally, out of the dungeon, Mythia and Ritteru are totally wiped out, so fighting manaless. While carrying Allan, Mythia's glad she mastered the sword instead of relying on mana. Ritteru credits her help, but they're just relieved to make it out alive. Allan snapped, demanding why they were grinning. He hated that they failed this weak dungeon and ran like cowards. He blamed the loss on their weapon. Fails the sage used her staff for physical hits, and Mythia ditched her magic sword for daggers. He claimed he took down most of the enemies during the exploration. The other two were dead weight, and the reason they failed, Mythia snapped, blaming Allan for everything since he ran out of mana first. Allan blames a headache, so Mythia dares him to draw his holy sword. Ritteru stops her, saying he's not worth the effort. Mythia admits she's right. She glares at Allan, eyes burning with fury and disappointment. Allan hated that look. I left the others behind to rest in the village. Allan couldn't shake that look of pure disdain. He followed them to the nearest village. They reach Axis Village, Ishua, and Arya's old stop, and the locals welcome the adventurers. Allan introduces himself as the hero and asks a villager for a room, exhausted from a failed dungeon run. She's stunned to find a second hero today. She noted the last hero was humble and great, just like Saint Arya. Allan demanded to know why was that failure here, and why was he being called a hero. A villager snaps at Allan, "Don't you dare badmouth their hero, Ishua." Allan doubled down, calling Ishua a scamming fool he personally banished. Mythia and Ritteru are stunned. Ishua didn't quit. Allan kicked him out. Realizing he'd overshared, Allan pivoted, demanding their best room and every mana potion they had. The lady asks if he's getting paid for all this. Allan asks if they're really charging the hero. He claimed serving him was an honor, instantly shattering his hero image. Mythia and Ritteru couldn't silence his nonsense in time. Mythia tries to explain, but Ritteru shuts her down. It's no use, the villagers are already hostile. The villagers saw their true colors, fake heroes, just looking to rob them blind. Allan calls Ishua a fake, but the villagers aren't fooled. Ishua's too humble to even take a thank you, unlike a real fraud like Allan. Allan claims he's the real deal, then gets blasted by an E. Villagers pelted them with eggs, defending their savior Ishua and chasing the fake heroes out. Mythia yells to run, and a furious Allan retreats. Mythia and Ritteru confront Allan. Why the hell did he banish Ishua? Allan told her to shut it, claiming he just booted a loser unworthy of the hero's party. They were stunned. They let the kind Issuer suffer like that. She rushed to apologize, admitting they can even clear ranked dungeons without Ishua. Allan snaps at the name, accusing Mythia and Ritteru of holding him back. He barked, asking if they wanted to be kicked out too. Hearing about the party and Ishua, they went dead silent. Allan realized he'd said too much. Mythia and Ritteru glare at Allan, calling him trash. Mythia's out since Ishua's gone, and Ritteru warns that Allan's no hero following him is a death sentence. Allan sensed trouble if they left. He was finished. He demands they stay, claiming they owe him for the carry, then orders them to grab mana potions for another dungeon. Mythia and Ritteru made their choice, tossing their hero licenses aside. They toss their licenses at Allan's feet to quit. He calls it disrespectful, but they're done with this party. Allan roared, "He's the world-renowned hero of this continent." The continent meant nothing to those two. Knowing he's trash, they ditch Allan to face his regrets alone. Mythia asks for their next move. Ritteru suggests teaming up with Ishua since he didn't actually abandon them. Ritteru uses a strand of Ishua's hair to track him with her detection skill. Mythia kept a strand of Ishua's hair just to track him down later. They laughed off the coincidence, masking their clear possessiveness for Ishua. They trigger detection magic and find the issue. He's in Norbish town. On the way to meet Ishua, Allan is straight up jealous. Why was a hero like him suffering over a mere monoporter? He decides to re-recruit Ishua, certain the struggling loser will cry tears of joy for a second chance. He activates party detection, tracking his team through their licenses. Allan tracks Ishua to Norbish town and rushes to drag that trash monoporter back into the party. Ishua hits Norbish town, joining Arya and the hero to start their journey. They hit the guild and Arya checks her status to set her solo rank. B rank stats across the board, but her intelligence is a top-tier S. The receptionist expected these insane saint stats. Arya finishes her turn and tells Ishua he's up next to get checked. Ishua's nervous. It's his first status check ever, as he registers to become an adventurer. He touches the crystal to check his status. Instantly, the crystal erupted with blinding magic. The crowd and receptionist gaped. A low-status monoporter shouldn't have this much nerve. The receptionist checks his stats. They're all A and B ranks, but his mana capacity is the real shocker. Ranked SSS. SSS rank was unheard of, a legendary discovery. The receptionist suspects the device is broken. Arya adds, she's never seen him run out of mana. That was proof enough for everyone to trust the stats. The receptionists rank Ishua and St. Arya's party straight to C rank. Everyone's stunned. No one has ever started above rank E. Ishua refused special treatment. That was the least of his worries now. Every party there wanted to recruit him and St. Arya. They promised the best treatment possible. Ishua was slammed by a flood of recruitment offers. He saw Arya's shyness couldn't handle the social pressure. He tells them to run, claiming he's just a worthless monoporter. A girl screams at the adventurers to back off Ishua and calm down. Terrified of her, they went silent. She approached Ishua, introducing herself as Diana, the Sword Saint. He suspected she was famous. Then he learns the truth. Diana is a legendary S-rank adventurer. She's in Hero Lillian's party, fresh off slaying Ifrit, one of the Demon Lord's Elite Four. Ishua's shocked by another hero party. Diana steps up, apologizes for the chaos, and asks for a favor. The offer. Join their party instead. Ishua never expected a Sword Saint would actually recruit him. He rejects the group to work solo with Arya, while Diana claims her leader is hero tier. Lillian's a perfect leader, but Arya warns Ishua's still reeling from a hero who couldn't control their power. Diana defends Lillian, but Arya won't trust a leader who won't even show up to meet their recruits. That shut Diana up. She's got zero excuses. Ishua apologizes, insisting Arya was just worried and meant no offense. He trusted Diana instantly, figuring if she's this solid, her leader Lillian must be too. Recently kicked from his party, he now only works with people he trusts. Diana got the point, but she was crushed he wouldn't join her party. She burst into tears, devastated she failed Lillian's mission to recruit Ishua. Diana looked clumsy, but Ishua sensed her raw talent and genuine heart. Bad timing. Any other day, he would have said yes. Ishua figured Lillian must be incredible to have someone like Diana on her squad. Diana rejoins Lillian. She apologizes for failing and finds Lillian practicing magic. Even without a magic job, she could see Lillian's circles growing more complex and powerful every day. Lillian finishes training and her eyes snapped open. Diana failed to recruit Ishua, but she figured he had his reasons. Diana remembers Lillian, a genius born with the hero job. Her numbers skyrocketed after she crushed one of the 4 heavenly demons. She trains relentlessly with zero ego. Hero duties stole her youth and numbed her emotions. Unless she hears a certain name, she clings to Diana, sobbing, asking if Ishua hates him. Diana's clueless about what Ishua meant to Lillian. Ishua wants a face-to-face with the leader, so Diana volunteers to go herself next time. Lillian's too embarrassed to even try. Diana realizes Ishua is her first love, while Lillian spirals knowing he's in town today. Diana suggests tailing him secretly to jump in when he's in a pinch. Lillian loved the plan and jumped into action. Diana's glad Lillian's finally acting her age. Falling in love is only natural at her age. She hoped Ishua would be good for Lillian. Next morning at the guild, Ishua and Arya grab their first quest as a duo. Inside, they find a mob of adventurers brawling like rats over quests. If you wanted to avoid the crowd Arya spots something else on the side table. Issue those learn requests too. The receptionist greets him, noticing he's eyeing a quest on the table. Issue read the undead hunting quests. From filtering rusted reactors to hunting down lost cats. Arya loves cats, so she's taking it. Ishua grabs every quest on the table. The receptionist asks if he's sure, and he just nods. The receptionist admired his kindness for taking the low-tier quests everyone else ignored. Ishua's baffled. The receptionist says nobody wants these quests. The pay sucks and they're too much work. But to Ishua, essential quests, someone's cat is missing. He lures cats to the square with a trick, and Arya asks how. No reply, he just used a cat-friendly wavelength to track down the quest target. Diana and Lillian stalked him, stunned by Ishua's insane skills. Even with magic or swords, finding a cat could take a lifetime. Ishua finished in 30 minutes flat. Next up, undead hunting, Arya's specialty. She wiped out the undead in seconds. Ishua scolded her for overdoing it. Lillian and Diana watch in shock as the group shreds the undead. Diana's never seen magic this insane. Lillian's still waiting for her next chance to help. Next quest. Filtering power reactors. Ishua soloed it without breaking a sweat. So easy I felt guilty taking the money. Lillian was dying for a chance to set things right. Gangsters arrive, fuming that someone else is filtering the reactors. The client's rivals are the reason no maintenance company will help. The gang swarmed Ishua and Lillian thought her turn finally arrived. Ishua just sent the innocent guy to the back. He weighed the best way to take them out, all while avoiding the nearby power reactors. He made his choice and dropped a massive mana barrier around them. The gangsters sensed zero danger. Suddenly, headaches hit. Ishua just dropped a mono ring field. He spiked the mono density here, supercharging everyone's recovery speed. If they aren't used to it, expect massive headaches. One enemy's still standing, and they wanted him neutralized, but unharmed. He flooded the target with mana, knocking the target out before they can even fight back. Diana and Lillian were stunned. Ishua handled the whole situation solo. The more Diana learns, the more his skills blow her mind. And wild ways to use his SSS rank magic. Lillian fails again. Fuming, she banks on her next shot. Diana was certain Ishua would never need their help. Meanwhile, another stranger hits Norbish town. Hero Allan wants Ishua back in the party to return everything to normal. Next day, Ishua hits the guild for his usual quests. By now, he's famous for taking every job, even the ones with zero profit. The receptionist says he blew up in just a few days. He thinks they were mistaken he's doing nothing special. Allan arrives and calls out Ishua. Ishua's stunned to see Allan and demands to know where Mithia and Reteru are. He banished them for being incompetent, leaving Ishua stunned that Allan would throw away such elite talent. Allan didn't care, straight up ordering Ishua back into the hero party. Ishua and the crowd saw Hero Allan's blatant stupidity. Allan's overthinking, he just needs to shut up and follow. Allan hears the crowd laughing. He asks what's so funny. He'd heard Saint Arya's story about the idiot hero banishing Ishua. Allan snaps, "Do you even know who you were talking to?" The man demands 2 C ranks, shocking Allan, who knows beginners should only be F or E rank. Everyone told him Ishua and Arya were just that good. Even a cow could see Allan was struggling without mana. Allan hated randoms looking down on him. Ishua's done, he officially rejects Allan's party. Done talking, Ishua grabs his next quest. Allan stood stunned. Ishua actually rejected his quest. Mocked by weaklings, he grips his sword to show everyone his true power. A voice screams for him to stop. Problem aside, Diana and she warned Allan guild fights are strictly forbidden. Allan wants to flex. Fine, she'll be his opponent. She vows to handle Allan anytime, leaving him rattled by her sudden intensity. Sensing she was dangerous, he turned tail and bolted. Diana's disappointed the hero couldn't even grasp the massive power gap, until she finally showed her fangs. Gotta thank Diana for this. Diana finally understands his trauma with heroes. She hopes Allan stops bothering Ishua. Ishua spent the next week grinding regular quests. He found a quest to scout the elf village, and Arya was stunned by the massive 30 gold coin reward. The payout was massive, but Ishua stayed cautious. He wouldn't gamble Arya's life on a shady quest, so he turned it down. The receptionist pushes him to take the elf village quest. Just visit and report back that everything's fine. Ishua asks why no one else took it, but she refuses to explain why. But the guild assigned Ishua that quest. Ishua always takes the trash quests, so they hid his reward inside another dud. An insane idea for a guy only 1 week on the job. His hard work earned him this quest. She told him to take it, calling it a sightseeing trip. Ishua tries to decline, but Arya's all in for sightseeing. They instantly shouted to take the quest. Arya's exhausted from back-to-back quests, so Ishua takes her on a vacation. He accepts the quest, making the receptionist and Arya happy. Lillian overhears and tags along, following Ishua straight to the elf village. She needed an opening to win his trust. Diana's shocked by Lillian's insane stealth, especially for a hero. She tried to explain Ishua didn't need help, but Lillian already hit the desk to snag quests near the elf village. The receptionist scans the room and finds it. Found a quest to slay the mutated ogre king. It's a rank quest, and the toughest one they've got. Lillian knew the rank quest was a breeze, and the receptionist agreed. They rushed to the elf village to finish the quest and snag the issue of trust. 3 days later, Ishua and Arya reach the elf village by carriage. They're stunned. Yggdrasil is so massive it's visible from kilometers away. Ishua remembers the World Tree, a 2,000-year-old legend cleansing miasma to protect the elven village. Saint Arya reveals an angel planted the World Tree's seed in monster territory. It grew into a massive tree housing a whole community. Live in peace, safe from monsters. Legend says this World Tree shielded the world. And he remembered Arya loved that story. Ishua sensed something was wrong. He sensed something off in the World Tree's monoflow. He prayed it was all in his head. Lillian and Diana lose Ishua in the monster chaos. Diana says they have no choice. They're at the World Tree's base, and they can't let these monsters reach the main road. The thick miasma chokes Diana, straining her lungs. Lillian drops a high-tier heel on her. She thanked him, but they knew the relief was temporary. They had to wipe out the monsters and clear the miasma. Suddenly, an even deadlier monster ambushes them, the mutated ogre king. It's the quest target. Diana's glad they didn't have to hunt it down. She lunges forward, slashing the ogre. Her confidence shatters as her blade fails to scratch the ogre king. He doesn't even bother dodging. Diana's stunned. Why aren't her attacks working? Lillian says the monster evolved by soaking up the surrounding mana. He just jumped from A to S rank. Diana orders Lillian to distract the monster for a moment. Lillian triggers her special hero skill, but it burns through mana fast. She warps everyone into her own virtual world. Inside Inherent Barrier Fantasy World, they hold a massive advantage. A hero-tier cheat skill. Whatever Lillian imagines becomes reality here. Lillian supercharges Diana's blade, forging the ultimate weapon. Diana swings their ultimate weapon with everything she's got, certain this would finish the monster. Lillian was confident, but the joy died instantly. The Ogre King tanks the strike, his skin deflecting it with 0 damage. They both knew it was over. They've never seen a monster parry a hit that massive. Even a heavenly demon took damage, meaning this mutant's magic resistance is insane. Lillian warns Diana her mana is low, so she must stay still to keep the fantasy world alive. Diana keeps relentlessly attacking the Ogre King, but her blade bounces off every single strike, finally wearing her down. The Ogre King strikes while she's wide open. His club strike crushed her torso. She coughs blood and goes flying. Lillian's defenseless as the monster closes in. She wasn't dying in a place like this. She's determined to be a hero and slay the demon lord. At this rate, she knew she was finished. She regrets failing Ishua in this life. Ishua tells Arya to stay close as he breaches the invisible space. Lillian never expected anyone to breach her space like this. It's impossible without her permission. He grabs the edge and steps inside like it's a normal room. Lillian's always had all eyes on her. They targeted her hero status, thinking a little girl would be easy to trick, and snag hero party perks. Always on guard, Lillian was often alone. She tripped and dropped her teddy bear. She grabbed it, finding it caked in mud. She broke down, feeling helpless. Ishua calls out for the first time, asking if she's okay. That day haunts her even on the brink of death. Lillian can't die yet, not until she helps the person she loves. Luckily, he showed up right when she needed help. She's distracted, but he reacts fast, pulling her clear of the monster's strike. He asks if she's okay. Lillian thanks her savior, clearly nervous to be so close. Ishua remembers her from the castle years ago. They find Diana and she's in deep trouble. Ishua scanned the scene, sizing up the situation. Just hours ago, Ishua wandered outside the elf village. Locked out, they re-slaying monsters to kill time. Arya's disappointed. The guide promised the village was open, but it's a bust. She unleashed her fury on the monsters. They re-whining non-stop. Why are they barred from the elf village? She cleared out monsters across the forest. Issue a notice. A rank. Monsters are swarming here like it's a demon realm. They were so easy Arya didn't even realize they were A-rank monsters until now. He wished she'd stay alert. Suddenly, the surrounding miasma thickened. Ishua shields them with his monolink field. It cleared the miasma as they scouted the village perimeter, checking for threats to keep the locals safe. He noticed something was off. Way too much weirdness for a simple leisure quest. He headed straight for the source of that strange feeling. They reach Lillian's fantasy barrier. Arya spots the fight, wondering if miasma is behind it. Ishua decoded the complex magic and can now force an opening into that space. He told Arya to stay close as they entered. Lillian's stunned Ishua just picked apart her fantasy world instantly. Even after years, she still hasn't mastered it. Ishua asks if she created this space. She accepts, and he realizes the girl he met is actually hero Lillian. The ogre crashes the reunion, attacking as he instantly reads the situation. This monster absorbed miasma, mutating into a higher rank. He instantly maxed out Lillian's magic. He orders Arya to heal Diana. Arya's healing magic instantly mends Diana's wounds. Diana woke up instantly fearing for Lillian. Diana spots Arya and Ishua, wondering what they're doing here. Arya admits she can purify the miasma. Diana inhaled. He took charge, using pura mana to purge the miasma from her body. Diana's stunned to be fully healed. This new method is a massive discovery. Ishua claims he learned tricks to hide his low-tier monoporter status. Lillian blasts the ogre with a fireball. 0 damage. She rains down dozens of attacks just to exhaust the beast. He knows the insane difficulty of casting multiple spells like that. Lillian's frustrated she barely scratched that mutated monster. Stepping up as a hero, she tells Ishua it's a great reunion, happy to see him one last time. She'd hold the monster back so Ishua and the others could escape, swearing it on her hero's pride. Ishua admired her bravery. She was a true hero. Allan would never risk his life, but she didn't hesitate for a second. Ishua wasn't leaving her behind. He warns she can beat that monster alone. Confused why he won't leave, Ishua tells Arya to do the usual. Arya then buffs and heals the entire squad. Ishua covered the mana, giving the team infinite skill spam. Arya spams support spells. Fueled by Ishua's infinite power, they're now unstoppable. Diana and Lillian fought on non-stop. Issue A gives the green light. Diana strikes first, landing a small cut on the Ogre King's belly. Lillian saw their attacks were finally dealing damage. Arya suddenly blasts her Holy Nova Beam at the Ogre King. Diana's seen this before, but up close, the beam's raw power is overwhelming. That hit barely scratched the ogre. This fight's gonna be a long one. Ishua already had a plan to take down that monster. He pumped Holy Mana straight into the monster. Lillian saw through Ishua's plan. Just flood the miasma beast with Holy Mana to solve it. Evolution reverses, and the monster slowly weakens. He was right. The Ogre King's power plummets back to rank 1. It's an easy takedown, so Diana calls Lillian for the assist. She forged the strongest blade imaginable. Revised. The sword's output stunned Ishua. Let's try. Ishua was floored by the sword. Power. Final check. Diana swings with everything, slaying the Ogre King. Diana shakes Ishua's hand in thanks. She thanks him and introduces her leader to Ishua. Diana orders Lillian to greet him properly. She nervously spells her name. They reveal they've already met at the castle. Lillian's flustered he still remembers her. Ishua realizes Lillian is way more timid than Arya. Diana noted the thick miasma near the world tree was suspicious. They head to the elf village for answers, but stop cold as the world tree begins to wither away. Warning signs of a looming calamity. Lillian orders them to rush the elf village and check the situation. Ishua admired her hero-level reliability. Reaching the elf village, guards spot Ishua and Arya. They remember being here before. Lillian reveals she's the hero, sent to scout the elf village outskirts. The guard questioned if she was legit. A fake hero already turned the village upside down. Now he's so worried she has another fraud? No time to think, they bolt past. The guards ignore them as the world tree descends into total chaos. Ishua's bummed his first elf village visit is a rushed mess instead of a sightseeing tour. Reaching the village center, they hear a familiar voice, Allan S. screaming, "He is innocent." Days ago, Allan hit the castle to report his wins to the king. He was speechless, his life in total chaos. Allan rushed from Norbish to the castle after a sudden royal summons. The PM expected big news from his hand-picked hero, proud of the champions he'd chosen. Ever since Lillian crushed one of the 4 heavenly demons, the Prime Minister demanded Allan's results, hungry for good news. Allan claims he just gained a few levels lately. Minister asks if that's all. Allan hesitates, explaining he's clearing a ranked dungeon before moving straight to S ranks. The king roared, sick of the same. He needed the real story. He wanted Ishua's dungeon report now. Allan's livid. Why's his name coming up again? If the king finds out he's the lone survivor, he's finished. He lied about Ishua being sick, making the worried king check if he was okay. Allan kept lying, claiming Arya was with Ishua while he just kicked back. Allan lies his way out, desperate for progress to impress the king. The king stayed patient and let it slide. He gives Allan an urgent quest, ordering him to consult Ishua before moving out. Quest briefed, Allan heads to the elf village and reaches Yggdrasil. His mission scout the elf village outskirts, where mutated monsters are swarming. He asks the coachman if abnormal monsters are really lurking nearby. He confirms the reports that's why the area is locked down. Hero Lillian is already hunting mutants, but Allan knows she'll be no help. The coachman calls Lillian a stunning hero, but Allan only remembers a runt and her gorilla-like swordswoman. Allan would handle this solo and take all the credit. 0 monsters appeared, so he dismissed the rumors as fake. He thought he was on a roll. If Ishua showed up, he'd score free fame for doing nothing. Allan reaches the elf village, relieved the trip was monster-free. The guard blocks him no entry without permission. Allan asks about Lillian, but the elf guard demands his name. Allan flashes his hero license, revealing the king sent him to investigate the elf village. The guard's shocked by a solo hero, but Allan confirms he's alone and demands entry. The Queen of Leaves arrives and orders the guard to let him in. Chelsea's beauty left Allan mesmerized. Chelsea's done hiding. With no solutions left, she has to accept outside help. She leads Allan away, warning that failure here dooms the entire world. He needs to stay sharp. Allan didn't get the drama. Was it really that hard? But King expected a perfect report. Allan fought to stay afloat and scout the area, ready to bolt if he was outmatched. He enters the elf village to suspicious stares. Everyone was terrified. Even Allan knew things were about to get ugly. One line out. Original head, so he asked the elf queen if Lillian had come here before. The elf queen replied, Allan was the only one who arrived here recently. Revised. She's not here should Allan find her first. Greed takes over. He goes solo to prove to the king he doesn't need backup. He reaches the world tree. Up close, it's massive. Allan scans the area and spots something strange. The world tree's roots were slowly rotting away. The elves are failing. Chelsea confirms the world tree is dying as the miasma overpowers it. Allan realized the monsters were turning even more violent. The entire region was becoming a dead zone, and Allan knew he was powerless. The elf queen asks if he can handle it, but Allan's already looking for an excuse to bail. He claims he's just here to investigate. Then he remembered the king and PM's fuming faces. 0 hesitation. Chelsea asks what's up. Allan tells her he's got this. He takes full responsibility, swearing on his hero-esque pride to cure the world tree. No choice left. Allan tries a quick heal. He headed to the world tree. The queen trusted him, while her elite guardians stood by powerless. Allan didn't know a secret Aleve squad protected and healed the world tree. He'll use his hero powers and healing to pull it off. He casts Rejection on the world tree, a high-level recovery spell he believed could heal even fatal wounds. He hid his powers and let Arya handle the healing until now. Now, but nothing. The elves mocked the spell as a joke. It stood 0 chance here. Allan says he's just prepping. He spammed every healing and anti-poison spell he knew. Nothing worked. The elves mocked the hero's hype, claiming they could have handled this themselves long ago. Allan's desperate. If he fails the king again, he loses his hero status for good. He spots a world tree root, discolored and pooling with miasma. Allan unsheathed his blade, finally finding the source. Time to prove he's a real hero. Worried, Queen Chelsea demands to know his plan. Allan snapped at her to shut up and watch. He reached the swollen root and slashed the overgrowth with his holy sword. Queen Chelsea screams in panic, while Allan beams with pride. Chelsea screams at Allan, asking if he's insane for attacking the world tree. Allan cut the source since the miasma was clearly building up there. Miasma ripped through the world tree. Allan was terrified. Why was it all happening so fast? The Elf Queen loses all hope as the World Tree rapidly withers. Roots are the tree's defense, and Allan just cut down the final barrier against the miasma. Allan knew he'd screwed up. He'd just done the unforgivable. Enraged elves accuse Allan of working with the Demon Lord. Allan protested, swearing he was clueless and it was all an accident. Allan hears a voice calling one he'd never forget. He screams at Ishua, demanding what the hell he's doing there. Ask him what he did to the World Tree. Elves reveal. Allan cut the root, sealing the miasma. He leaps down for a closer look. The Elf Queen asks Lillian who they are. Lillian reveals she's the hero and already knows Elf Queen Chelsea. Chelsea was the Elf Queen until the World Tree withered in disgrace. Now, she's unfit to rule. Lillian told her to stop thinking like that. Dante despair, yet it's way too early. Ishua moved in to inspect the World Tree up close. He senses the World Tree's soul, reveals it's alive, and vows to heal it. The Queen's hopeful, but the other elves refuse to trust a human after what happened. Lillian settles them, explaining that Ishua is just a rookie monoporter. As a hero, she guaranteed it. Proof he'd eventually become the world's savior. The Elf Queen believed her. She stared into Ishua's confident eyes. Chelsea told the others to let Ishua handle it. She's trusting him. Either way, the World Tree dies if this keeps up. She orders Allan's arrest for attacking the World Tree. He screams. He's Ishua's leader, but no one buys it. He's hauled away. Ishua preps to heal the World Tree. Fully aware of the massive stakes, he floods the World Tree with holy mana, purging the miasma. To restore the severed root, he fires off a monohull spell. The elves question the distorted magic circle. Instantly, the circle sucks up the miasma. Ishua built a monohull to siphon miasma from the World Tree. He spammed mana holes around the World Tree. Tell Lillian to place more circles in the World Tree's high miasma zones. He can to reach, so he has her levitate to do it. Lillian obeyed, using Ishua's mana to spam complex magic circles without breaking a sweat. Their plan worked. The World Tree was healing. Chelsea's never seen this technique and demands to know what Ishua really is. Ishua claims he's just a monoporter. He tells Lillian to place more mana holes, but a guard elf bursts in. Things are going south. Hundreds of monsters suddenly swarm their village. The Elf Queen's panicked. A stampede is the last thing she needs while the World Tree is dying. Lillian realizes the World Tree can purify the miasma, making the monsters go wild. Ishua and Lillian are stuck. They both have to stay and heal the World Tree. Diana's relieved to finally be useful after worrying she'd be dead weight. Ishua sends Diana and Arya to hold off the monsters while he and Lillian cure the World Tree. At the village gates, Diana orders the elf guards and villagers to hold the line. No monster gets past. She braced for her first mission with Saint Arya. Even for them, the odds were brutal. More monsters emerged from the forest. Diana ordered the archers to clear the flanks. She and Arya clear the swarm on the main path. Arya unleashes Holy Nova, which, wiping out multiple monsters instantly. Diana's blown away by Arya's insane firepower. Village elves delivered mana potions, fueling Saint Arya's stamina. She buffs Diana, who instantly charges the monsters to play her part. Diana's raw strength shredded the monster hordes. She and Arya made a solid team, holding back the monsters. The hero-s party stuns the elf guards, forcing them to admit their power. How long can they hold back hundreds of monsters? Ishua and Lillian fired off monohulls non-stop. Just a few more to save the World Tree. A small monster blindsides Diana, scoring a quick hit. Arya heals her wound instantly. Then, they got right back to slaying monsters. Exhaustion didn't matter. Soon, the mana potions run out. The surrounding miasma thickened rapidly. Seeing the elves defend the border, Diana couldn't slack off for a second. They had to fight until the World Tree was reclaimed. A guard warns the queen the monsters are breaking in, but she's already evacuating the citizens. Monsters will arrive before the World Tree is cured. She ordered every fighter to the gates, ready to join the battle with her bow if needed. Ishua confirmed miasma was gone as mana finally returned to the World Tree. He just needs to push a little longer. Diana's fading fast as a monster skewers her left leg. Arya preps a heal, but she's hitting her limit and running out of mana. Diana saw it and ordered Arya back. Even if she has to face hundreds of monsters alone on the front lines. She scanned the area. The odds were stacked against them. She thought her life hit rock bottom. Even the Sword Saint is facing death twice in a single day. If she survives, she'll train harder than ever to never be this helpless again. Suddenly, two figures leap from the sky, falling from the sky straight into the monster horde. She spots them. Mithia's magic sword swim and the powerhouse sage Riteru. They arrive right on cue, but Diana wonders where they came from. Arya's old party arrives, instantly turning the tide in their favor. Weeks ago, they ditched Allan and set out on their own to find Ishua. Hyped to meet Ishua, they're suddenly stopped by people screaming for help. Monsters jump them, and they don't hesitate. Mithia and Riteru stop to help, even if it makes them late for Ishua. They know Ishua would never ignore someone in need. They're unleashing their rage to run wild in this battle. After saving the humans, Riteru and Mithia tag along straight in the opposite direction of Norbish town. Monsters slaughtered the escorts, so they couldn't leave these people defenseless. Mithia sees them off safely and heads to Norbish town. Plans changed. Riteru and Mithia end up in a noble mansion. The noble offers them a treat. He thanked them for saving his daughter, saved by medicine from the carriage they rescued. Riteru begs Mithia to leave, but the noble insists they stay the night. He won't let them leave without a proper thank you. Mithia and Riteru declined the thanks and headed out. The noble begs to repay them, swearing he can efface his ancestors if he lets his daughter Sibua's saviors just walk away. Mithia and Riteru spared his feelings, so they stayed the night. Riteru couldn't believe they'd be stuck there for a whole week. Every week, the noble begged them for one more night. Mithia wants to leave now and hit Norbish fast. Riteru confirmed Ishua's been in Norbish, so they can't drop their guard now. Next morning, they set out to meet Ishua. They hit Norbish town, but Ishua's gone. They're too late. Reception says Ishua headed to the elf village for a special guild quest. Mithia tries to give chase, but the receptionist blocks the way. The king just banned everyone from the village area. Riteru followed the king's orders, but Mithia refused to wait. She realizes Ishua's been clearing every leftover quest. He's gone, so she's stepping up to help people and carry his legacy. They're hunting the undead. Pet hunts, deliveries, and caretaking. Now dubbed leftover quest hunters, Mithia only wanted Ishua's praise upon his return. Riteru missed the moment they ended. A massive bird snatches him away. She woke Mithia, who'd bored herself to sleep. She asks Riteru what happened, but he says they just overslept, reminding her the bird attacked. Now the bird's hauling them back to its nest to feed its chicks. Mithia wasn't about to eat bird chick food. She'd bolt the second they hit the ground. Riteru says the bird is likely heading to Elf Village, exactly where Ishua is right now. Riteru bypassed the king's order, claiming being carried by a bird was out of their control. They played helpless as the bird carried them off. Mithia knew a bird this massive nested at the world tree. Approaching the village, Riteru noticed the world tree was in bad shape. And just like that, they reached the elf village. Diana and Arya were soloing a monster horde. Mithia effortlessly wiped out monsters. She's effectively stalling the monster swarm. Riteru clears her side, shredding monsters with physical and magic strikes. Arya notices they're fighting better while saving mana. Diana wonders why Allan was dumb enough to banish elites like them. Riteru hands Arya a mana potion. Thanks to them, Diana finally gets some rest. Them rejoining the battle to be an asset instead of a burden. Diana's insane swordplay stunned Mithia. Right then, Lillian arrives. She makes an epic entrance, raining hundreds of fireballs on the monster. They welcomed the extra help. Mithia finally meets hero Lillian, the legend who crushed one of the 4 heavenly demons. Lillian reports the monoholes are set, and Ishua's now neutralizing the miasma. Arya and Diana's duo just evolved into a powerhouse squad of 5. They all trusted Ishua to handle his end without fail. Lillian remembered finishing the mana holes. It seized control of every mana hole. The elves noticed the world tree shedding fewer leaves. Ishua's relieved they halted the miasma erosion. After Emma, he sends Lillian to help the others. He pours holy mana into the world tree to restore its circulation. The elves watch in shock as a human juggles countless magic circles while fueling the world tree with his own mana. Even the elf queen lacks that much mana. Yet Ishua's managing the entire circulation solo. She'll never forget Ishu's name after he pulled off the impossible. Now, he's focused on the world tree's mana flow. The world tree heals, and the leaves finally stop falling. Fresh leaves exploded back onto the branches. The world tree's healing power is back because, coming back to life. Chelsea burst into tears as the world tree finally breathed again. At the village border, Diana and her team battle monsters non-stop. They felt the miasma thin. The world tree is restored and purification is back online. They only needed to fight for a few more minutes. Suddenly, the monsters froze, as if on command. Mythia's baffled as the monsters suddenly turn and retreat like they failed their mission. Ritaru notes the monsters weakened once the World Tree's purification restarted. They saved the village. Everyone erupted, celebrating a victory they thought was impossible. Everyone admired Ishua even more for making it happen. The Elf Queen struggled to thank him, but Ishua told her one task remained. He floods the magic circle with insane mana, casting it across the entire World Tree, ensuring things never get this bad again. The Queen questions his actions. He tapped a light magic storehouse to keep the purification running forever. Chelsea never expected he'd go this far for them right then. The rest clear the gates, shouting for Ishua. Arya lunges for a hug, shouting, "They did it!" Ishu thanks the crew, giving Lillian and Diana special props for the assist. He's shocked to see Mythia and Riteru there too. Mythia hugs him too, reminding him it's been forever. Ishua didn't expect two more to jump in. Mythia claims they're here for Ishua, but Riteru spills the truth a bird dropped them off by total accident. Chelsea hails Ishua as the Elven village's true savior. He's not the only one. He credits the whole team for saving the village and World Tree, calling them a legendary party. Ishua reveals they aren't a real party, just strangers who met by chance. Their coordination was so perfect, Chelsea thought they'd been together for years. She agreed, announcing a festival to thank their saviors. That night, the party's wild and the dance floor is packed. Others feasted on elf village specialties. Chelsea knew Allan was doomed even without hitting the World Tree. She never expected them to survive. Ishua felt the crushing weight of Chelsea's crown. She bowed, vowing her aid. Ishua told her to raise her head. He told her hosting the festival was enough. Chelsea was safe and purely selfless. Suddenly, a familiar voice terrifies him. It belonged to a wasted Arya. Ishua never even saw her drink. Now, all eyes are on her as she acts more like a drunk than a saint. He tells her to slow down, but she claims saints can purify alcohol. He fires back. "Then why don't you sober up?" Arya ignores the question, leaning in close to invite Ishua for a drink. Ishua tells her to get off, then hears someone else shouting. Hero Lillian is sobbing because Ishua rejected her. Diana screams, demanding to know who got Lillian drunk and broke her character. Now, she feels like a weak hero everyone hated. Diana tried to calm her, but Lillian kept flying. Drink in hand, Diana noticed Ishua watching them. She knew the struggle of babysitting drunk friends. Everyone dropped their serious acts and partied until they passed out. Next day, Ishua gears up to leave. They took Allan too, caged for his crimes. Allan demands freedom, but the elves refuse. They're reporting him straight to the king. Forget the cage, Mythia would rather snap Allan's leg and drag him back. Ishu tells Allan to quiet down. They need to report everything to the king. First stop Norbish, then the royal capital. The Elf Queen thanks him, hoping for their speedy return. Thank the Elf Queen for the festival. He'd return soon, but for now, he's heading back to Norbish Town. Ishua hits Norbish Town and heads straight for the Adventurers Guild. The receptionist was relieved he survived and reunited with the group she was. She's been on edge since the elf village chaos, but Ishua promises they're safe. He's reporting the quest now. He spills everything, leaving her stunned that the World Tree nearly died. They crushed an S-rank monster and revived the World Tree. The receptionist's new problem was insane. This was too insane. Who was he really? He claims he's just a normal monoporter, but his team shakes their heads, calling his bluff. This quest was just a thank you, but now the receptionist is jacking up the reward. Despite their suffering, Ishua stayed humble and took only the promised 30 gold coins. The receptionist is stunned by his humility, but Arya's worried he genuinely thinks he did nothing special. The receptionist marks the quest complete, and Lillian's too. She's hyped. Lillian joined SSS rank monoporter Ishua, but gutted she missed the show. Shouts erupt outside and the receptionist wants no part of hero Allan. Allan doesn't deserve that title one bit. Allan summoned the four, they're his party, so their achievements are his too. Reminding Allan he banished them, the furious adventurers ask if he's trying to start a war with the elves. Ishu wanted Allan outside to avoid the insults, but Mythia wanted him to suffer. He left her for dead in a dungeon, and now she's got a massive grudge against Allan. Ishu says it's time to head for the royal capital. Report everything to the king. Back at the castle, the king is relieved they're safe. He already heard everything from the 11 Queens emissary. He couldn't believe Allan went solo and made things even worse. Allan was speechless, so our Arya revealed Allan kicked Ishua, so the rest of the team quit. The king snaps, forcing Allan to silence Arya. The king shuts Allan down and asks Ishua if it's true. Allan confirms it. The party doesn't need a member who only provides mana. The king yells that holy swords drain mana, so Ishua is only there to pay the cost. Mythia reveals Allan abandoned her to die alone in that dungeon. The king heard enough he realized Allan was already solo when assigned the elf village mission. Allan lied to the king. Allan as smooth talk won to save him. The prime minister delivers his final verdict. Allan was officially stripped of his hero status. Allan begged the king for one last shot, vowing to make a massive comeback. He begs Ishua and the crew to rejoin his party. They were done trusting him. Arya challenges Allan to prove he's a hero, restart as a rookie, and reach the top fast. Arya dropped the saintly act, and Allan hated it. The king agreed Allan's hero skills hadn't improved since the start. His stupidity nearly wrecked their relationship with the elves. He even tried to bolt, ignoring his duty to report the incident. The king orders Allan branded with a criminal S mark. Carry that mark forever. Allan shouts, "He's no criminal." That's insane. Soldiers hauled him away to mark him. The king issues he handled it perfectly, so he offered him a reward. Ishua brushes off the praise, claiming the guild's reward was already enough. The PM offers Ishua land and a title. The king's down, but Ishua thinks being a noble is too much work. Arya warns him. A commoner becoming a noble is a massive deal. Ishua refused, claiming appreciation was reward enough. His choice shocked everyone. He added that the king's recognition was a massive honor. He was an adventurer, always pushing for the top. More than anything, he just wants to keep traveling with the group. The king respects his choice and wishes Ishua luck on his journey. Diana asks Lillian's next move, want to travel as a duo again? Could she finally join Ishua's party? Lillian saw her shot and nervously called his name. Before she can shout, Mythia asks Ishua to add her and Ritaru to his party. Lillian blew her shot. Ishua questions if they're really that desperate to follow him and Arya. Their skills could land them any party, but Mythia and Ritaru trusted him most and loved his company. Ishua says they overreacting and still wants them at the party. Diana pushed Lillian to speak up too. Lillian then asked to join Ishua's party. Ishua and the others were stunned by the news. To Diana, Lillian sounded like a kid playing house. Ishua asks if she's serious. She soloed a heavenly demon, so she's more than ready to lead her own party. Diana asks what he means, reminding him they'd never survive the elf village alone. They need pros to move forward. Hard to find. He looked to Arya for her take. To her, Lillian was a true hero unlike Allan. She wanted to tag along too. Ishua makes his choice. He asked Lillian to let his squad join her party. Lillian's stunned. This is the total opposite of her goal. She wanted to join his party. Ishua wouldn't disrespect the hero, he's the party's undisputed leader. Panicked, Lillian asks Diana for her next move. Diana agrees. If Ishua wants it, they're in. They're traveling together anyway. Party formed, he recaps everyone's names and roles. A new hero party forms to crush the Demon Lord. Back at the Demon Lord's castle. Ifrit. He suggested pushing the Swarm's front. Undine, another heavenly demon, claims Lillian would have just trashed Ifrit again. Ifrit mocks her flawed plan, catching her completely off guard. Sylphie, the butterfly demon, agreed. Wiping out the elf village with miasma was a solid plan. Fourth demon. Gnome thought his mutated ogre king would crush that little hero. The four realized the hero wasn't the threat, it was Ishua and his broken cheat skills. Finally, the Demon Lord speaks. Could a human even hold that much mana? Undine confirms his massive mana and insane control are monstrous. Things just got way worse now that he's teamed up with Lillian. Ifrit says no more tricks, they're striking directly, and the Demon Lord agrees. The demons waited for the Demon Lord to choose. The Demon Lord won't waste energy in a head-on clash, he's sending a human hero to do the dirty work. Undine wondered where they'd find a hero willing to team up with demons. The Demon Lord already had the answer, revealing the hero to them. It's Allan, broke and questless. Ever since he was branded a criminal, he spent his life hating Ishua, blaming him for every misfortune. Now the Demon Lord's moving to recruit the fallen hero. Ishua and his crew travel by carriage. Approaching Amdia's territory, Lillian gives him the official word. Ishua tells her to drop the formalities as teammates, but Lillian can get used to it. He tried it on Mythia and Riteru, but they still clung to formalities. A week after forming their party, they're on their first quest delivering White Dew Elixir to Amdia. Turns out Lord Iamdia is the noble Mythia and Riteru met before. She reveals they helped that carriage and it was already hauling the White Elixir. They head to the Lord's mansion to escort the carriage. They found a mystery plague hitting the Lord's daughter and servants, but the massive supply demand proves the infection is spreading fast. Worried for the people, he ordered the coachman to speed up. Diana guards the group from outside, signaling when they reach the Lord's mansion. Lord Amdia greets them at the entrance the moment they arrive. He's relieved to see Mythia and Riteru again. Mythia didn't expect them back so soon, but seeing the Lord's daughter healthy was a relief. He still needs massive amounts of elixir, meaning more people are sick. Amdia says strange plagues are sweeping their territory. Doctors are stumped. The only cure is the top tier, White Dew Elixir. Riteru finally saw why Ringersu herb quests were surging. Ishua promises Iamdia more herbs and elixirs from nearby lands, but Lillian knows it won't fix a thing. Hear her out. She begs Lord Amdia to let them probe the mystery plague he hadn't planned on their help, but later, Lillian apologizes to Ishua for the investigation detour instead of delivering elixirs. Ishua didn't mind. They'd find the cause while delivering elixir, a move he hadn't considered until Lillian suggested investigating the source. She's a true hero, so he trusts her judgment. Lillian's moved by his trust, but when he asks to drop formalities, she tells him it's way too soon. Arya asks Lillian why she's even investigating. Lillian says she'll act after Ifrit falls. He warned Undine's sinister plan would finally put humans in their place. Lillian was stunned, nearly exposing the plan. He kept quiet, hiding the plan to swarm the world tree with monsters and wipe out the elf village. Then it just teleported away. Ishua, Arya, and Lillian worry about a crisis they've already solved. They hit the next village. Lillian orders them to unload. The coachman knew this group was weird. They didn't just finish the quest, they hunted the source instead of waiting for the reward to grow. Mythia calls it a clever trick, but Ishua shuts that thought down. Mythia laughs it off as a joke, and Ishua's relieved their leader is actually kind. Way more than him. They distribute elixirs while hunting the disease's source. The head doctor says the patients are being held in a makeshift hut. They arrive to find patients writhing in agony. Lillian and her team panicked. The patient count was overwhelming. The doctor reveals 100 more patients are hidden in nearby huts. Cause unknown. They spammed heals and left the rest to the patient's body. They finally had a cure in the White Dew Elixir, but supply couldn't keep up with the massive demand. Ishua was way out of his element. Determined to help like Lillian, he asks to examine the patient himself. The doctor was honored to assist the slayer of a heavenly demon and the monoporter who saved the world tree. Ishua touches the patient's forehead, scanning his body. Checking the patient for the demon lord's scheme, Ishua spots something suspicious. He announced the patient's broken monobalance was making them sick. The doctor's confused, so Ishua explains this guy's dark mana is basically zero. Everyone's born with a balance of every mana attribute. If that balance breaks, you get sick. The doctor's stunned Ishua senses monoflow with just a touch. He claims he can even fix the mana balance. Seconds later, the patient is completely healed. Like he was never sick. His mom beamed, seeing her son healthy again. The doctor remembers the White Dew Elixir restores monobalance, while Ishua finds the same symptoms in every patient. The doctor's never seen anyone transfer every mana attribute at will. Ishua helps everyone one by one while Arya's magic numbs the pain. She heals the entire building, performing miracles right before the doctor's eyes. Riteru helped brew the elixir too. Lillian investigates the village, finding everyone sick from a lack of dark mana. Diana and Mythia hit up the village for advice. Ishua was stoked to see everyone find their role and step up. He got to work on his part too. Soon, the chief pitched in with the staff. Ishua exits the hut, and he's immediately asked for a status report. Find anything? Ishua warns their only problem is the recovered patients insisting on helping. Arya's relieved they're okay now. The villagers saw a miracle. They chant Ishua's name, stunned to witness a new legend. Think they re-exaggerating teamwork made this possible. Lillian's back from the investigation. She tells everyone she's found a major clue. Her claim sparked hope, and the crowd hailed Ishua as their leader. Ishua names Lillian leader, spotting their own party members cheering in the crowd. Outside the village, branded criminals plot their next move. They ordered the rookie to nail his first job. No excuses. He sold meds to a nearby village hit by disease. The newcomer asks why, especially since these meds are fakes with nasty side effects. The thug tells the rookie to embrace a life of crime, but he's actually the former hero, Allan. Branded a criminal, Allan can't even land an E-rank quest in Norbish. Marked as a criminal, the receptionist only lets him take leftover quests. Allan cursed his luck. He couldn't afford high-paying quests and blamed Ishua for the whole mess. At this rate, he can't even afford his room. Suddenly, a criminal named Name approaches. Exposed as an ex-hero, Allan asks who he is. He cut to the chase and offered him the perfect quest. Allan recognized them. They were from the criminal guild. He told them to beat it. He wasn't desperate enough to join a criminal guild. The criminals baited Allan with food he couldn't resist. Allan was starving and couldn't resist. He'll decide on the quest only after hearing them out. Mid-meal in the carriage. The criminal ordered him outside to eat while he guarded the carriage. Allan scarfs his meal and bolts from the carriage. He cursed his luck, forced to work with the criminal guild again. He thought this was a one-off get the cash, then figure out his life. He asks the others what's in the cargo. They claimed it was medicine for a sick village. Allan fell for it, thinking the job was legit. The criminal reveals the name Phoenix Pills. These drugs offer instant relief, but later cause mental collapse and agony. Possession alone is a major crime. Allan helped transport it, but his last shred of humanity makes him want to quit the quest. The thugs won't let him walk. He ate their food and knows the plan. He's not leaving that easily. Allan's trapped. The thugs plan to sell the meds and flee before the side effects hit. Realizing they're pure scum, Allan refuses to be like them. But reaching the village, they sent Allan to sell the meds. Forced into the village, Allan hawks royal capital meds that cure everything. Hearing him, the villager went dead silent. Allan doubted anyone would buy that shady claim, but the villager stared in pure awe. Capital medicine, and he hauled it all the way here. The villager leads him inside. Allan was stunned. It actually worked. A crowd gathers in the village center. He's got a bad feeling. Heroes cured the village recently. Allan's starting to see a strange pattern. As always, Ishua was at the center, loved by everyone even here. Naturally, more women swarmed him. At this rate, Allan knows Ishua is making history. Branded a criminal, he's forced to hawk fake medicine. Allan raises his hand and he shouts his cure-all is way cheaper than white dew elixir. He recognized Allan instantly and demanded to know where he got that medicine. The doctor turns to Sage, demanding answers. Allan panicked, remembering sages are medicine experts. Ritaru announced it's a phoenix pill so she'd know instantly. A lethal drug with brutal side effects. Owning even one is a crime. Allan thought he was finished. Shocked by Allan's involvement, Lillian couldn't look away. As a hero, she had to act. With Allan cornered, he grabs a girl hostage and blames the monoporter for everything, while Ishua screams in shock. Allan warns everyone to stay back for the kid's safety. Lillian mocked how far the hero-turned-criminal had fallen. She casts her magic, trapping Allan in her virtual space. Blindsided, Allan realizes he just lost his child hostage. He screams, "What the hell is happening?" Lillian reveals she just warped him into her imagination. He can take hostages here. Allan told them to wait and listen. Their hateful glares made it clear they wouldn't believe a word he said. Allan asks if they really think he'd join a criminal guild willingly. The distrust kept spiraling. Allan begs for another shot, vowing to climb the ranks instantly. They're still staring him down, disappointed. Allan absolutely loathed it. He takes them on with a holy sword. A new one spells trouble. He snaps a mana field around them. Allan's trapped in another barrier. Suddenly, Allan's head throbbed, triggered by massive mono concentration. Ishua tried training Allan here before, but the dense mana was too much for his untrained body, causing instant headaches. Allan's helpless Ishua drains his mana to wake him up, ignoring Allan's pleas to stop. Too late, Allan blacks out. Troops mobilize to drag Allan back to the capital. Ishua's team investigates as soldiers drag Allan away, leaving Ishua heartbroken. Allan's dealing drugs while branded a criminal is execution next. The thought is crushing. Arya says it's not his fault. Diana presses Lillian for clues on the disease. Lillian reveals a hidden magic circle by the well funneling dark mana. He immediately ordered everyone to stay back. Lillian reveals more magic circles are hidden in the well and across the village. Ishua realizes the entire outbreak was a deliberate setup. The criminals tracked Allan's every move. They watched him get busted instantly on his first mission. They ask their client if that's all she wants. She smirks. It's a yes. Now the criminals want their reward. She sheds the cloak and the guys thought she'd pay with her body, not cash. They didn't know she was a demon, so she slaughtered them the moment they were useless. Their reward for doing her job. Death. She wonders about the ex-hero Allan. After all that suffering, he finally turns on humanity. They tracked the plague to its source, the Calamity Dragon's lair. Ishua's crew scans the circles and realizes they're hidden in every village. Lillian says it only targets low mana users, but where is all that power gathering? Was this really the Demon Lord's scheme? He dispels them all at once to keep everyone safe. They thought clearing the territory's magic circles would take forever. Ritter Rue suspects a core mechanism manages the stolen mana. It's all in one spot. If they destroy that center, they could end this fast. Ishua tracks the center with mana sensing and tweaks the magic circle to match. He's altering magic mid-use, a feat even the experts can't handle. He did this to keep the perps from realizing they'd been reverse-tracked. He broke down exactly how it works. They didn't understand a word, but they knew they could count on him. Ishua slowly fed mana into the magic circle. He became the mana itself, seeing exactly where it flowed. He saw mana converging at a single point, primed for a massive surge. Their destination. The mountain water source. He demanded a map, fast. He marks across. A massive cave at the mountain space is gathering all the mana. Lillian's stunned. She's standing right where the white-scaled dragon legend began. The white-scaled dragon is a living disaster. The name says it all. This dragon was a legendary force of destruction. Ishua's team reaches the disaster dragon's cave, where he's stunned by the massive, perfectly hidden mana. He sensed the traps and warned the team. They were lucky to have him. Mythia warns the disaster. Dragon is a fairy tale nightmare that leveled nations and defied every hero who tried to seal it. Lillian reveals this was originally an A-rank dungeon, and one day, a party reached the end and found the disaster dragon sleeping deep inside. A boulder once sealed this cave, but someone just intentionally pried it open. Ishua felt secure with a hero who held the nation as secrets. Talk about a wild hero as party member. Lillian warns that someone is pumping massive dark mana into the area. Someone's trying to wake the disaster dragon. Reporting to the king takes too long. The army won to arrive before the dragon wakes up. They had to move fast to stop the disaster dragon's awakening. Mythia's worried this is a ranked dungeon, and high-level monsters are guaranteed. She's still haunted by the ranked dungeon run that nearly killed her. Monsters strike, and Mythia takes spearheaded the vanguard, clearing the path while Ishua's stunned. Their teamwork is so efficient they never stop for mana, pushing forward with zero breaks. Riteru spots a mana fork ahead. A trap meant to confuse intruders. Lillian took charge. She activates mapping to scout her surroundings. She ordered everyone right. Arya follows the path, spots a map, and asks about the dots. She warned them something was waiting ahead. Whenever she senses treasure, she reaches into the map and snatches it instantly. A total cheat skill that makes the hero absolutely broken. Mythia admits her last ranked dungeon run was a total nightmare. With this new squad, it's surprisingly easy now. They reach the dungeoness core and threw open the gates. Wary of what's behind that door, suddenly, the stench of rotting meat hits them from inside. They discovered shady figures using the dragon-S corpse as an experimental base. Ishua's crew spots the dragon rotting isn't that a massive threat. The thug's leader barks at Ishua's party. For trespassing, Ishua's shocked to find they're human. Risking humanity like that, Lillian introduces herself, revealing she tracked a disease here. The humans recognize Lillian as the one who took down their master, Ifrit. These intruders are the Demon Lord's enemies. Mythia shouts, they're Demon Lord followers from the Chaos Divine Guide Society. Demon Lord cultists believe humanity's only salvation is death. Lillian asks if they're following the demon's orders. The man admits they've never met the Demon Lord, but reviving the disaster dragon will force him to notice them. Ishua's shocked they'd cause so much suffering just to impress the Demon Lord. The cultists won't let the heroes stop them and immediately attack. Lillian orders the humans captured alive. The human reminds them, they cleared this dungeon too, they want to go down easy. Mythia instantly drops one, shattering their confidence. The others also completely outclass the cultists. Some get captured instantly. The cult leader is stunned. He's getting overwhelmed. He triggers his backup, reviving the incomplete disaster dragon. Lillian tries to stop him, but the cultist forces the disaster dragon's revival, facing the dragon even if it kills him. Suddenly, the whole place erupts in a violent quake. Dark mana surges around the disaster dragon. Suddenly, tremors rocked the entire area. That cult bastard just woke the disaster dragon. The dragon's terrifying eyes snap open. He fires a dragon breath, punching straight through the mountain. Ishua and the group suddenly felt themselves outside the cave. That dragon breath obliterated the ceiling in seconds. They're paralyzed with fear. One breath from this disaster. Dragon could erase entire nations. That thing's at least an S rank. The cultist trembled before true calamity. The disaster dragon awakens. He unleashes a wave of terror, catching everyone off guard. They're still reeling from the dragon effortlessly vaporizing the cave ceiling. Another breath attack is incoming. The calamity dragon's right arm falls off. It charged, blasting dragon breath. It landed right next to Ishua and the others. That breath obliterated half a mountain dozens of kilometers away. Diana froze at the sight of the destruction. They only survived because the dragon's incomplete body lost its balance. Alert the cult and have Lillian isolate them and the dragon. She summons the fantasy world around them, taking only the calamity dragon and the party inside. Diana never thought she'd face the legendary calamity dragon. No, holding back now. One mistake, and they were dead. Lillian amps Diana's blade. She lands a clean diagonal slash across the dragon. Ritteru unleashes her ultimate lightning spell, landing a direct hit on the calamity dragon. Mythia unleashes her magic sword as ultimate move. Grimlancer. They wonder if they even left a scratch. The dust clears, and Diana is left in total shock. She's stunned. The dragon is unscathed. They're completely outmatched. Diana shields the group from the dragon's claw. The beast cracks the world's surface, a first for Lillian. Proving the dragon's insane power, Ishua warns that even a graze from that attack, one hit means instant death. Their attacks did 0 damage. Lillian scrambled for a way to win. Saint Arya blasts the dragon with her ultimate Holy Nova. She actually pierces a hole in the calamity dragon's side. They're hyped to finally have a weapon against the calamity. Saint's light magic is the perfect counter to the dark monofuel dragon, but Arya spots it. The dragon's regenerating instantly. Things get messy. Diana asks Ishua to purify the dark mana again. He says it's impossible, the dragon's overflowing with dark mana. One hit means instant death, so getting close is suicide. Everyone thought hope was dead. Ishua disagrees. A fully healed dragon would be lethal, but Arya's attacks are landing. They've still got a shot. Ishu reveals his plan. It's risky, he needs their absolute trust. They agreed before he even explained. They trusted Ishua blindly. The whole party revolved around him. They bet their lives on the result without a second thought. Touched by their words, Ishua vowed to give it his all. He challenged everyone to blast him with their strongest magic. Nobody saw this coming. He detailed the plan while they distracted the dragon. The plan's set. Now Diana and Lillian just need to distract the dragon a bit longer. Arya asks if he's actually, once confirmed, Arya, Ritteru, and Mythia unleashed Holy Nova, Thunder Magic, and Grimlancer in one massive combined strike. Ishua's sweating. Any of these 3 attacks is an instant kill. He had to transform the attack as a tribute. Never tried it before, but he knew it would work. Ritteru knows attribute shifting is possible, but the conversion rate is absolute trash. Ishu claims he found a way to hit a 100 conversion rate, shocking everyone who knows it's impossible. Ishua converts everyone's magic into holy energy to land a lethal blow on the calamity dragon. One-shot the dragon, or the plan fails. Ishua warns if he falls, retreat and wait for the king's army. Arya screams for him to drop those thoughts and begs him to stay alive. If anything happens to him, it'll break her. Ishua readies Holy Nova as his base. He seizes control, casting magic to analyze Arya's Holy Nova. Knowing her moves, he reads and controls the attack instantly. Next up, Ritteru's Thunder. Ishua fumbled her lightning spell, stalling for a few moments. Seconds longer than Holy Nova. Ritteru's stunned. He just turned her lightning spell holy. Now, he's got one more. Mythia's Cursed Blade strikes. He's kept her blade for years, but never once analyzed it. He needs total focus to control it. He realized he might not make it. Time passed. Others spotted him standing. The attacks close in. While they focus on Ishua, he drops a mana field to slow the strikes and buy time. In a split second, he fires off a wild spell to survive, thinking. Grimlancer got Ishua. A panicked Arya screams his name. Dust clears. And he's already analyzed the Grim Lancer too. He fuses all 3 attacks into one magic sphere. Ishua steadies the orb as Riteru realizes the monofield held. Ishua reveals monofield warps space-time. They're stunned. He can create a subspace that slows time. Arya says the last time Mage lived centuries ago. Now, all that's left is for Ishua to unleash his magic. The Calamity Dragon spots the sphere and lunges to stop the threat. To distract the dragon from Ishua, Mythia lunges at its side with her blade. Diana strikes the leg, but it deals 0 damage. Arya blasts Holy Nova, striking the dragon's left wing. Arya grabs the Calamity Dragon's attention. She orders him to act now or she'll blast the dragon with a boosted Holy Nova. The dragon counters his attack with a blast of dragon breath. Riteru knows it's bad their attack is being nullified. If Shua's damned, it's all for nothing. Total bluff, he was just flexing his magic control. She enchants Saint Diana's sword and swings down the Holy Blade. The plan stayed the same. Ishua fires the boosted Holy Nova. Once the dragon spots them, he enchants Diana's sword for the final blow. Diana readies her final blow. She splits the Calamity Dragon in half. A massive explosion erupts. The Holy Dragon finally falls. The girls celebrate their victory, but Ishu can't celebrate just yet. Now he's gotta dodge the incoming dragon's wreath. They saw him and immediately worried. His flawless plan to kill the dragon had one major hole: he forgot his own defense. He scrambles for survival, triggering a distant memory. In class, the teacher explained that many things defy human norms, like teleportation magic. Ishua was sure she was right and no one else could do it. Mastering magic control, he tests his power and casts a massive mana field. This field is his densest yet, making it easy to warp space itself. He finally rips open a space rift and dives through. Next, Ishua's thrown into a space-time rift. Inside, the world transcends causality. Get lost here, and he's never going home. He focused hard, realizing Arya was the only place he could return to. Driven to reach her at any cost, his sheer willpower finds the exit. Outside, the group panics as the dragon's breath tears through Ishua's position. Lillian screamed his name, but he'd vanished without a trace. Lillian sobbed, sure he was gone, but suddenly, Arya strikes from behind out of nowhere. Ishua's head throbbed until he saw Arya was safe. He used her as a world marker, but she didn't care. Terrified, she just clung to him. Lillian's stunned. How'd he survive? That dragon breath should have vaporized everything. Riteru says only teleportation fits modern magic theory proves it. Teleportation and time slips are possible. Ishua teleports and realizes space and time are identical, but Riteru warns that humanity isn't ready for that truth. The theory is real, but only Ishua has the mana to pull it off. Methio shuts down the complex talk. He told them to focus on the fact they just beat the legendary Calamity Dragon. Lillian orders them back to the castle. A few days later, they hit the capital and brief the king on everything. The king's jaw hit the floor. Lillian and Ishu just slayed the Calamity Dragon alone. The king says even legends needed 100 heroes to seal the dragon. Defeating that dragon was shocking, but Ishua reveals it wasn't even fully revived yet. The king didn't care, they just wiped out a massive threat for good. The PM suggests a statue of Ishua and the crew for the Plaza Center. The king ordered instant prep, declaring a celebration today. Ishua speaks up. He has a question for the king. The king beamed, asking what it was. Ishua's missing. He should have arrived by now. The king and prime minister's faces tighten with worry. He had zero good news. Ishua and the party are now panicking over what just happened. The king orders the soldier to hand over the report. Ishua gets the report Allan is now a wanted man. He demands the king explain. The king explains everything, and Ishua rushes straight to the scene. He's stunned. A monster stampede right outside the capital is unheard of. The soldier confirmed the reports he was part of the team moving Allan. Mid-transport, Allan begged them to fake his death and let him escape, arguing that a hero joining a criminal guild would ruin the reputation of every other hero. James wouldn't dare release Allan. Suddenly, the captain gets word something's on the road ahead. James spots figures closing in. Looking closer, he sees a monster horde charging straight for them. He sends a runner back to the city to report the situation, while he and the others stall the monsters. A monster outbreak right after his arrest. Allan's luck is officially trash. Then he saw his chance to escape. Allan begs James to untie him to fight the monsters. James suspects a trick, but Allan claims he's still a hero and refuses to die in this dump. James wasn't interested until Allan's repeated pressure. James had no choice now. He unchains Allan and orders everyone to guard the carrot from monsters. Allan smirks from behind, finally free. James turns, ordering Allan to the left. James gets jumped. Allan ambushes him, but he escapes, calling the soldier a fool. Allan swiped their mana potions and bailed, leaving the soldiers to die against the monster horde. Ishua's disgusted by Allan's actions, while James regrets ever trusting him. Arya finally gets why Allan's a fugitive. Seeing a former hero fall this low is just pathetic. James drops a shocker the moment Allan fled. The monsters suddenly stopped and retreated. Diana recognized the chaos. It was the elf village stampede all over again. Suddenly, the monsters retreated. Their coordination was way too perfect. A soldier hauls in an eyewitness who saw everything. Ishua grills the villager about what happened that day. He says he hit a monster swarm right then, and among them stood a strange mother. A gorgeous woman with a body clear as water. Saint Arya realized it's one of the 4 undying heavenly demons. If it's her, the monsters' coordination makes sense. She commands them. Undine saved Allan on purpose. But why rescue a hero? Digging deeper only makes things messier, and Allan's trail is officially cold. He tells them to head to Norbish and rest up. Days later, at the Norbish Guild, the guild threw a massive party for Ishua. He had no clue how they ended up like this. Word spread. Ishua crushed the Calamity Dragon. So, the guild orders a promotion. Rank up Ishua and Arya. Ishua's confused by the rank up after so few quests, but the mission hit during a crisis while they were already on site. She ranked up Mithya and Riteru. Ishua's stunned. He knows the brutal grind it took to reach this rank. Diana congratulates Ishua and Arya for hitting rank A. They must act their rank to save face, but Mithya knows he'll be back to taking leftover quests tomorrow. Lillian announces a massive party, putting Ishua and Diana on high alert. They immediately warn Arya and Lillian no drinking. Mid-drink, an emergency alert hits from the capital. He announces an emergency quest. A sudden emergency quest catches everyone off guard. Adventurers are struggling as emergency quests flood in. They need a break after slaying the revived Calamity Dragon. An adventurer reads the emergency quest. Defend Pendulum Fortress from the monster invasion. Lillian remembered the northern fortress was their vital shield against the demon realm. That base is critical. If hundreds of soldiers need backup, this invasion is total madness. Monsters are finally starting to coordinate. If Pendulum Fortress is struggling, adventurers need double the firepower to survive this quest. Monsters are on the move, and Lillian knows the Demon Lord's plan is finally in motion. With the choice clear, Lillian takes charge and accepts the quest. Everyone stared as Ishua's team accepted the quest, despite their recent string of deadly encounters. They were hyped for the quest, trusting hero Lillian's party to keep them safe. Ishua and Lillian were stunned. Their mere presence fired everyone up, Diana noted. It was no lie. Ishua and Lillian were definitely saving the world. Days later, Pendulum Fortune meets at their gathering spot. Knights welcome the adventurers here to help. Lime steps up as the adventurers' rep, ready to help and work with the knights. Lime denies being the commander just as an old man's voice barks for everyone to line up. No slacking amateur mistakes aren't an option. Lime reveals the old knight is Anaya, leader of the Central Knights.